Terran and Zerg not doing too much. Let's see how the income's going. Terran, of course, is ahead, followed by me, actually. The Zerg doesn't really have much on his expo, so I am still beating him in the resource count. Of course, my partner is in last, but he's coming in good with the minerals. Look at all those probes. He needs to get the gas going and get some of those on the gas because they are being wasted. He doesn't need that many guys on gas. Units lost, I have lost the most, almost the most. Looks like the blue Zerg has lost the most amount of units and resources. And look at this, my partner Teal hasn't lost much at all, so that leads me to believe he didn't train much in the beginning. And of course, after that initial battle, he wasn't involved in any of the fights. Here's the unit count again. I've got 10 Mutalisks against 12 Hydras and 27 Marines. So Mutalisks, decent against air attackers in small numbers, but that number of Marines and Hydralisks will just shred these Mutalisks to pieces. So you'll see I'm going to get an infestation pit, and we'll see if I do choose to upgrade to Hive or not. There we go, I'm upgrading to a Hive. You can expect to see either Ultralisks or Broodlords. I won't spoil it for you, but you can see this game is a longer one from the replay bar, so you can expect to see some pretty cool shenanigans going on here. Trying to check out some of the cool statistics I can show you while we have this downtime. I tell my partner lots of Marines. Let's check out the APM. I've got about an average of 80 APM. Like I said, it's a 2-on-2 game, a little bit more casual. The red Terran has a little higher APM, and my ally has an average of 38 APM, so he's kind of a slower player. Let's just say a casual player. Army size, he only has 1 unit. Looks like it might be a sentry from the 50 minerals and 100 gas, but I don't know where that's at. Let's check out the units and see if I can find it. Oh, it's an observer, so that 1 unit from his army is an observer. So I am moving out my Mutalisks again. I want to scout out the high yield and any other extra expansions they might have. I don't want them to secure an advantage, even though they do kind of have map control right now with their forces, but my Mutalisks are very versatile, so I will take out this probe. Dead probe. Lots of cannons. I told him just to get tons and tons of cannons, because if my opponents do not get something to counter what I am getting myself, they are in big trouble. Spire upgrading my armor. I was debating whether or not to cancel that and so I could get my greater spire a little bit sooner, but I let it complete. It only took about 20 more seconds. It was around like there. And there it goes. Right when I finish my upgrade, I go right into my greater spire. So I'm going to prepare a lot of corruptors, as you can see over here, to morph into my Broodlords, picking up the high yield expansion in the meantime while the Terran is upgrading to a planetary fortress. I'm trying to harass them as much as I can, just slow them down. The reason I put my corruptors in the back is so that if he does scan something, hopefully he won't notice the greater spire morphing in, and he probably won't see my corruptors, because if they have anti-air for these, it's a pointless tech decision. They'll just be able to wipe them out with Vikings or corruptors of their own. So the only way this is going to work is if they don't get any air units, because of course Broodlords cannot be beaten by any ground units. The only one that might stand a chance now because of the patch is the Thor, but they attack very slow, and the Thor's splash damage is great against Mutalisks because it does bonus damage, but Broodlords are not light units, and so Thors would do a lot of little damage, little damage to a lot of units rather, but wouldn't do too much damage to actually take out the Broodlords. And there we go, the greater spire is up. You're going to see me morphing these in very fast. There we go, morphing them in, and this is going to be almost perfect timing. They are moving up a lot of cannons to try to stall this as much as we can. I'd be curious to see how well these cannons do against just this army, but you see my Broodlords are just about done, and they're going to come in and help out in the fight before I can even tell how much damage the cannons are doing. But look at that, units just dropping like flies down there. Cannons getting taken out as well, but they're doing a lot of damage. Marines moving up to the front lines there. I think they can tank without their shields. I'm not sure why you wouldn't get a shield upgrade in Twilight Fortress. But here come the Broodlords. They're going to hurl their little tiny bug friends, and the Hydras are trying to move up and get some focus in on the Broodlords, but there's just too many of them. Look at all the white bars there. Those are all Broodlords. They're just chasing down anything that tries to run. It's a slaughter fest, really. I'd be interested to know if when a broodling gets a kill if it does mark that kill on the broodlord or not. I kind of think it doesn't. So it's kind of disappointing. I wanted to see how many kills they actually had, but all the kills that were amassed, a lot of them were on the broodlings, and the broodlings exploded. So my partner now has 2 bases here. I have 3, and the opponents have 3 as well, but no gas going on this one. I'm going to assault this with my Mutalisk. It's only 1 missile turret, but he is bringing in submarines and marauders. Fortunately, marauders can't attack air. I don't know if he knows that. But now I have 11 broodlords, which is a huge number of broodlords. Broodlords cost 300 minerals and 250 gas to train, so having this many, they should be able to kill everything on the ground, because having such a simple counter as air-to-air, you know, they should be effective, which is why the Ultimus is kind of lacking. It can't even attack air, and yet it's not even that great against ground units. Some Hydras moving out on the side of the map. I don't know what he was trying to accomplish with this push. He knows that my ally had some cannons still in the base, and you know, we could just react by training a couple units to finish them off, even if the Hydras are able to kill the cannons. Kind of a strange little, you know, I'm gonna be sneaky push. I tried to do some damage because it looked like he was on move command, but he does take out 2 of my Mutalisks, but I actually do quite a bit of damage to the Hydralist. They walk up into the cannon. Cannon's quickly taking this out, and look at this. I go Broodlords, I destroy their ground army. So what are they going to do? They're obviously going to get anti-air. They're going to get all air-to-air units. They can't get ground-to-air units because those will still get destroyed. And so they are getting Vikings. So that's a perfect tech switch on my part. I'm trying to do as much damage with these Broodlords as I can. I did take out the expansion, and I'm telling my teammate not to get air. I'm not getting any more air. He does not need to be getting any more air. Right when I destroyed their first ground army with my Broodlords, I immediately built 2 evolution chambers, getting Hydra upgrades and a Hydra den. And look at this, I'm just pumping out a lot of Hydras. I'm telling my ally, no, don't get carriers, what are you doing? But he should quickly stop getting carriers. There we go, looks like he did cancel them. So at least he was able to cannon and listen to me and get a lot of robotics facilities and ground. I'm telling him carriers are going to get slaughtered, man, don't get carriers. And right now I've got a good Hydra army here. Could actually, it looks like we might have been able to counterattack right now, but you know, when we're in this position, when we've been on defense all game, you don't really want to risk something like that. Some Vikings moving out, looking to maybe do some harass or scouting of the map. I'm taking another expansion here, and whenever I take an expansion, I stick down the extractors right away so I can get mining as soon as that goes up. Unfortunately, I don't have any drones there right now. Blue Zerg player, coming in and trying to harass some of my overlords. Good thing to get against clumps of air units like this is actually infestors, because you can't quite chase them very well with your Hydras. So you want some way to just stop them in place, and infestors are great at that. Meanwhile, Terran's sending his forces to my high yield expansion. I can take that out easily with this number of Hydras, who do have 1-1 upgrades now. Looks like I'm progressing to 2-2 upgrades. But I won't be there in time to save this hatchery, it seems. Plus those corruptors in the back are still a nuisance. Do very little damage to overlords. They only do 12 damage a pop to overlords, but still annoying nonetheless. It did take down that hatchery, and it looks like instead of trying to save that, which I wouldn't have been able to, I'm going to try to deal with these harassing corruptors. Terran expanding in the high yield on the bottom, not actually utilizing it as of yet, and also expanding in the middle as well as Zerg. My partner is not expanding. It looks like he's still, he's actually struggling to get some probes on here. He needs to train a lot more probes, so maybe not the greatest random partner to acquire. Lots of Hydras in the middle, and my ally does have Colossi now, so that is a good thing. He is chrono boosting, which is also good. Three robotics facilities. You won't see that on any map but Twilight Fortress. That is insane. And we've got a lot of Zerglings. Zerglings, of course, not effective against Hydras in mass numbers, especially when these Zerglings are not even... Oh, they are upgraded a little bit. But my first Infester's out. Got a couple carriers supporting me here, but they're going to be taken out very fast by the Vikings and the Corruptors, of course. Taking out 1 Viking, 2 Vikings, but there goes the first carrier. I'm sending in my Hydras to support 3 Vikings going down. Carriers are kind of a mystery unit as of now in StarCraft. You're not really sure if they're good or not just because no one really needs to get them. You know, it's not like, oh, look, I have a carrier, you're gonna lose. Well, actually, we don't know if that's how it is, but each interceptor